Have you ever wondered how advanced your soul is? Think about the gap between a genius like Mozart composing music at 5 years old and another child of the same age who can barely tie their own shoes. Most people view this as a random genetic lottery, but what if it's actually demonstrating how advanced their soul is? What if we're all students in a massive spiritual school and some of us have simply been in the classroom longer than others? Today we're going to go through a 5-point checklist to help you see exactly how close you are to finally graduating from this Earth school. But before we look at the signs, we have to ask, is it possible that the evidence for this spiritual school has been hidden in plain sight for over 2,000 years? Now, if you're like most people, you probably associate the idea of reincarnation with Eastern religions or modern New Age philosophy. But what if I told you it's actually been in the Bible this whole time? We've actually just been conditioned not to see it. Take the prophet Elijah, for example. In the very last book of the Old Testament, there was a prophecy that he would return. For centuries, people took this literally. They were literally waiting for a man to drop out of the sky. Look at what happens when Jesus is asked about this prophecy.
As they went back down the mountain, Jesus instructed them, "Don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." Then his disciples asked him, "Why do the teachers of religious law insist that Elijah must return before the Messiah comes?" Jesus replied, "Elijah is indeed coming first to get everything ready. But I tell you, Elijah has already come, but he wasn't recognized, and they chose to abuse him. And in the same way, they will also make the Son of Man suffer." Then the disciples realized he was talking about John the Baptist.
He doesn't say John is like Elijah, he says he is Elijah. John is Elijah returning in a new body. Elijah is John. John is Elijah. Jesus later went even deeper in a private conversation with a religious leader named Nicodemus. Nicodemus wanted to know how to reach the highest spiritual level, the kingdom of God, and Jesus gave a very literal answer.
Jesus tells Nicodemus, "I tell you the truth. No one can see the kingdom of God unless they are born again." Nicodemus asks him, "How can someone be born again when they're old? Can they go back into their mother's womb and be born a second time?" Jesus answers, "I tell you the truth. Unless someone is born of water and spirit, they cannot enter the kingdom of God. Flesh gives birth to flesh, but spirit gives birth to spirit. Don't be surprised when I say, you must be born again."
Nicodemus asks the logical question, how can I go back into my mother's womb? And Jesus doesn't say, no, that's just a metaphor for baptism. He says, you must be born of water. If you look at this through a biological lens instead of a religious one, it makes perfect sense. What's the first thing that happens to a woman during childbirth? Her water breaks. Jesus is describing the mechanics of reincarnation, the spirit entering the physical body through the water of the womb. Now you might be wondering, if this is so clear, why don't we hear about it in church on Sundays? Well, that's because for the first few centuries, many early Christians believed the soul existed long before the body was born. But in 553 AD, at a meeting called the Second Council of Constantinople, the church hierarchy issued a series of official bans against these teachings. They essentially ordered that anyone teaching the pre-existence of the soul be expelled from the church, and they replaced the idea of a long-term spiritual evolution with the idea of a one-time judgment. But as we're seeing today, the original evidence is still there, hidden in plain sight. So if these ancient texts give us the evidence that reincarnation is real, where do we find the how? The blueprint for the system was uncovered in the mid-1800s by a man who was the furthest thing from a mystic. Allan Kardec was a respected French educator and a man of logic. He didn't approach the spirit world with a crystal ball, he approached it like a scientist. Kardec realized that if there was a spirit world, it must operate by certain rules. And to find those rules, he conducted a massive decentralized study. He didn't just talk to one person, he spent years sending the exact same list of questions to dozens of different mediums in many different countries. These were people who had never met, they spoke different languages, and they had no way of coordinating their answers. Kardec was looking for what he called a consensus of the spirits. If a spirit in Paris, a spirit in London, and a spirit in New York all gave the exact same technical explanation for how the soul evolves, he figured he must have discovered a universal truth. He then compiled those consistent cross-reference results into what we now know as the Spirit's Book. It doesn't ask you to rely on blind faith. It provides a rational, almost mathematical explanation for why we're here and how we progress as souls. And the technical explanation he uncovered, verified by spirits across the world, describes a process we actually see in chemistry: distillation.
The soul's purification can be compared to distilling alcohol from grape juice. At first, the liquid contains many impurities that weaken its essence. Only after being distilled multiple times does it become completely pure. The distillation process is like the body, which the soul must enter to be purified. The impurities in the liquid are like the spirit's body, which becomes cleaner and more refined as the spirit grows closer to perfection.
Lastly, we have to look at the why. If we only have one life, then the genetic lottery of Mozart versus everyone else, it's simply just not fair. Like, why do some souls come to Earth with such a huge advantage, like destined to succeed, while others seem doomed to failure from the very start? When Kardec asked if some spirits were created with an unfair advantage, the spirits were very clear.
Were some spirits created good and others evil?
God created all spirits, simple and without knowledge, like blank slates. Each spirit has a mission to learn and grow, becoming more perfect over time by discovering the truth. Through this growth, spirits get closer to God and find eternal happiness free from pain. Spirits learn by going through challenges that God gives them. Some accept these challenges with humility and reach their goals faster. Others resist, complain, and delay their progress, which keeps them from the perfection and happiness they're meant to achieve.
So, are spirits like children at the beginning, starting without experience and learning as they grow?
Yes, that's a good comparison. Like children, how much a spirit improves depends on how they act. Rebellious spirits, like stubborn children, stay behind in their learning and progress. The difference is that while human life has an end, the life of a spirit goes on forever.
In this Earth school, Mozart didn't just win a lottery, he simply spent more time in the music practice room during his previous semesters. He isn't better than you, he's just been in the classroom longer.
Do some spirits stay in the lower levels forever?
No, all spirits will eventually reach perfection. Some take longer than others, but they all change and grow over time. A fair and loving parent wouldn't abandon their children forever. Do you think God, who is kind, fair, and good, could be less forgiving than humans?
And that leads us to the next big question. If we're all here in this massive school together, how do we know how close we are to graduating? Before we look at the specific levels of the school, there are two rules of this school you need to understand. Allan Kardec asked if a person could just live one perfect life and jump straight to the finish line. The answer he got explains why this process actually takes so long.
Can we skip all these steps and become pure spirits without going through the in-between stages by living a perfect life?
No, because what humans think of as perfection is far from true perfection. There are qualities you don't yet know or understand. You can be as perfect as your current nature allows, but that's not absolute perfection. Spirits need to advance in both knowledge and morality. If they've progressed in only one area, they will need to work on the other to reach the highest level. However, the more you grow in this life, the shorter and easier your future challenges will be.
What explains the extraordinary abilities of people who naturally understand languages or math without prior learning?
It reflects their soul's progress in previous lives, even if they are unaware of it now. Where else would these abilities come from? Bodies change, but the spirit remains the same. It takes on a new form, much like changing an outfit or garment.
The best news is that in this school, there is no such thing as being demoted.
Can spirits go backward in their progress?
No, they can't. As spirits move forward, they learn what is keeping them from improving. Once they complete a trial, they never lose the lessons they've learned. A spirit might pause for a while, but it never goes backward.
Their social positions might change in different lives, but their spiritual level does not. For example, a soul that once was a powerful leader might later live as a simple artisan and vice versa. Earthly status often doesn't reflect spiritual morality. Herod was a king while Jesus was a carpenter.
Think of it like moving from second grade to third grade. Once you've made it to third grade, you never have to repeat anything from second grade ever again. You lose your physical inventory with each life, your physical stuff, but you keep your wisdom and your morals. I know what you might be thinking. If we've really lived all these past lives, why don't we remember them? If the goal is to learn, why does each life feel like starting over? The book has an answer for that too.
Why don't we remember our past lives?
Humans aren't meant to know everything. God made it this way. If we remembered everything, it would be overwhelming, like stepping from complete darkness into bright light. Forgetting the past helps us focus on who we are in the present.
How can people take responsibility for their actions and make up for past mistakes if they don't remember their past lives? How can they learn from experiences they've forgotten? Doesn't it seem unfair if each life feels like starting over?
With each new life, spirits grow smarter and better at telling right from wrong. If they remembered everything from their past lives, improving would take less effort, and their growth would be less valuable. The knowledge gained in each life isn't lost. When a spirit isn't in a body, it remembers everything it learned. While in a body, it might forget parts of it, but the intuition it keeps helps it move forward. This intuition often feels like a sudden thought or temptation to do something wrong, followed by a strong feeling that stops you from acting on it. People often think this intuition comes from lessons taught by their parents, but it's actually your conscience, a memory from your spirit's past, warning you not to repeat old mistakes. When a spirit faces its challenges with courage and resists its old tendencies, it grows and moves to a higher level in the spirit world.
We've talked about this as a school, but what does the campus actually look like? Now, the book categorizes this school into 3 major orders. To make it easier to visualize, I've organized them into a pyramid. It helps show how we all start at the wide base at the bottom and work our way up toward the top.
The way spirits are grouped depends on how developed they are, the qualities they've gained, and the imperfections they still have. These groups aren't set in stone. There aren't clear lines separating one from the next. Instead, the levels blend into each other, like the colors of a rainbow or the different stages of life.
Let's start at the base, the imperfect spirits.
These spirits are more influenced by material things than by their spiritual nature. They tend to lean toward bad behavior and are often marked by ignorance, pride, selfishness, and negative emotions like anger and envy. While they have a vague sense of God, they don't truly understand who God is. Not all of them are outright evil. Some are just silly, careless, or enjoy playing harmless tricks rather than being truly bad. Others don't do anything particularly good or bad, but the fact that they don't try to do good shows they are still imperfect. However, some enjoy being cruel and actively look for chances to harm or hurt others. Spirits in this group can be smart but often use their intelligence for mean or harmful purposes. Even if they seem clever, their ideas are not uplifting, and their feelings often show a lack of kindness or decency.
The influence of matter outweighs the spirit. Think about what that means in your daily life. When we're obsessed with status, money, power, or stuff to the point where we ignore the needs of others. When you see someone acting this way, it's easy to feel a sense of judgment. But if we stick to our school analogy, this isn't a permanent identity. It's a grade level. It's a level of maturity. These spirits aren't evil by design. They are simply the underclassmen of the spiritual world, toddlers who haven't learned how to share yet, or still bite others when they are angry. As you progress, the weight starts to lift. You move into the middle floors, the good spirits.
Good spirits are more focused on doing good than on material things. Their abilities to help and their moral qualities improve as they advance. Some have a lot of scientific knowledge, while others are known for their wisdom and kindness. The most advanced among them combines both knowledge and strong moral values. However, they are not completely free from traces of their physical lives yet. Depending on their level, they may still show some habits or quirks from their former lives. Once they fully overcome these, they will become purified spirits. These spirits understand God and the infinite and already enjoy the happiness of being morally good. They feel joy when they do good and stop evil from happening. Their love for one another brings them deep happiness, untouched by envy, regret, or other negative feelings that trouble less advanced spirits. Even so, they must continue to face challenges and grow until they reach complete perfection.
Notice the difference. It's not that these souls have suddenly become perfect, but the core motivation has flipped. Look how this shows up in their human lives.
When they live as humans, they are kind and caring toward others. They help because they genuinely want to, not for attention, power, or personal gain. They don't let pride, selfishness, or jealousy control them, and they don't feel hatred or bitterness toward others.
They aren't asking, what can I get anymore? They're asking, how can I help? Then there's the apex. This is the ultimate graduation. These are what the book call the pure spirits.
These spirits are not influenced by material things. Unlike spirits of all other levels, they are completely intellectual and morally excellent. These spirits have passed through all stages of growth and have freed themselves from anything impure. They've reached the highest level of perfection possible for created beings and no longer need to go through trials or reincarnations in physical bodies. They live forever in the presence of God. Because they are no longer tied to the struggles or needs of material life, they experience perfect happiness.
They've essentially finished the curriculum. Now that you've seen the levels, you're probably asking, how do I actually measure my own progress? Based on my research of the Spirits book, here's your 5-point checklist for graduation readiness. And remember, this isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about recognizing how much of the weight of matter you've already managed to shed. Advanced spirits don't wait for a life review after they die. They do it every night. The spirit of St. Augustine gave Kardec this specific advice.
At the end of each day, I would think about everything I had done. I'd ask myself if I had fulfilled my responsibilities, and whether anyone might have a reason to be upset with me. This helped me understand myself better and figure out what I needed to improve.
If you have a natural drive to be honest with yourself about your mistakes, that's a sign of a high-level spirit. You're essentially grading your own papers before the teacher even sees them. This is a big one. Do you do good things because you want a thank you or a gold star from God? Or do you do them simply because they are right?
Good deeds should come from kindness and generosity, not from expecting rewards.
But isn't it natural to want to improve so we can have a better life in the future? Is it wrong to hope that doing good will make things better for us?
It's not wrong at all. But those who do good purely out of love for God and to help others, not because they're looking for rewards, are already more advanced. This will help them reach happiness much faster than people who do good because they're calculating what they'll gain from it.
An advanced soul doesn't calculate their kindness. They aren't looking for a tax write-off or spiritual brownie points. They do it because at their level of maturity, helping is just what they do. Just natural for them. In our world, we obsess over status. Who is famous, who has the most followers, but look how the spirit world views these titles.
The spirits have confirmed what Jesus said. The great shall be humbled, and the small shall be lifted up. This means that people who were important in life might not hold the same status after death. A king who once ruled over millions could be no more important than an ordinary worker, while someone who was unknown in life might be highly respected as a spirit.
If you find yourself caring less about someone's status and more about the quality of the soul inside of them, you're already operating from a much higher level of perspective. That's an advanced soul's way of looking at other souls. In our culture, we look at people with easy lives as the winners. When things get difficult for us, we ask, why is this happening to me? We tend to view hardship as a punishment, but through the lens of the school system, we actually want a challenging life.
The harder those challenges are, and the better you handle them, the more you grow as a spirit. People who live selfishly, enjoying only comfort and wealth, are like lazy students. They don't progress. That's why more people face struggles than live easy lives.
If you're in a difficult season of your life, and instead of feeling like a victim, you find yourself looking for the lesson, that is a massive sign of advancement. You've realized that your physical body might be tired and hurting, but your spirit is getting exactly what it came here for. This difficulty isn't a punishment, it's the consequence of your soul's desire to graduate. And we grow the most when things are hard. This leads us to the most important question of all.
What is the root of all moral imperfections?
We've told you before, it's selfishness. Every imperfection comes from it. If you look at people's faults, you'll see selfishness at the root of them all. No matter how hard you try to fix your faults, they'll keep coming back unless you eliminate selfishness. Selfishness is what truly harms society. Anyone who wants to grow must remove selfishness from their heart, because it goes against fairness, kindness, and generosity. It cancels out all other good qualities.
So if selfishness is the final boss of the human experience, how do we actually get rid of it?
Selfishness is one of the hardest flaws to overcome because it comes from being too focused on material things. Humans are still close to their origins and haven't fully freed themselves from this influence. Everything around you, laws, society, and even education, keeps selfishness alive. But as people start to value moral and spiritual growth over material things, selfishness will begin to fade. People often become selfish because of how others treat them. When someone sees that others only care about themselves and not about them, they feel like they have to protect themselves. This makes them focus more on their own needs instead of helping others. But if kindness and fairness became the foundation of society and people and even entire nations treated each other with respect and generosity, then everyone would think less about themselves because they would see others doing the same. People learn by example, and kindness spreads when it's practiced. Right now, selfishness is everywhere, so it takes real strength to put others first, especially when those people don't always appreciate it. But those who do will find true happiness.
It's easy to get discouraged and think the world will always be this way, but the book offers a very hopeful perspective.
Aren't there already people who are kind, selfless, and giving? More exist than you might think. You just don't always see them, because true goodness doesn't seek attention. If one person can overcome selfishness, why not 10? If 10 can, why not 1,000? And so on.
After checking your progress against those 5 signs, it's natural to feel a bit of spiritual fatigue. You might look at a life on Earth and wonder, do I really have to come back to this difficult classroom until I'm perfect? According to the Spirit's book, the answer is no. No, you don't. Once you finally reach a certain level of selflessness, you naturally graduate to a completely different environment.
As spirits grow and improve, they move on to better and more advanced worlds. Eventually, they become completely free from physical bodies and any moral flaws, reaching a state of pure happiness in the presence of God.
On these more advanced worlds, life is much less focused on physical needs, and suffering is not as intense as it is on Earth. Selfishness fades, and people are kind and caring toward one another. Animal-like desires grow weaker, and there is no hatred, fighting, or wars, because no one would think of harming someone else. They also have a strong understanding of the future, which gives them peace of mind and a clear conscience. For them, death isn't scary. It's seen as a simple change, not an ending.
Every time you choose kindness over revenge, or purpose over popularity, you aren't just getting through a bad day, you're leveling up. You're proving to the universe and to yourself that you've outgrown the lower floors and are naturally moving into a higher floor of existence. Remember, you aren't a victim of this difficult world. You are a student preparing for a much brighter future. So where do you think you fit on that pyramid? Are you still navigating the lower floors? Or do you feel like you're finally closing in on graduation? If you want to learn more about what the Spirits book has to say about the journey of the soul, I highly recommend reading it for yourself. It's essentially the student handbook for your soul. I like it so much that I spent the last year of my life modernizing it into a modern, easy-to-read version of the book. There's a link to that in the video description if you want to purchase it for yourself, or if you would like, there is also a free PDF of the original version of the book in the video description. In the next video, we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions people have about the spirit world. Are angels and demons real? The next video will actually contain one of my favorite sentences in the entire book. So if you're interested in that, make sure you click subscribe. If you're watching this in the future and I've already finished the video, this is where it's going to be. It's going to be right here. If you don't see anything here, I haven't finished it yet. And you can click here. This is what YouTube thinks you would like to watch next. So if you're in the future, click here. If you're in the present, click here. All right. Well, see you next time.